I did a story about plus size people and the struggles they have traveling. How I came about this story, it was the beginning of summer and I was scrolling through social media trying to make traveling plans, as you do. And I saw on my Explore page that there was a woman with the caption under her video that said traveling while fat. And I was like, well, what is she talking about? So I clicked it, and her name was Mary Fran. She's a beautiful girl. She lives in Hawaii, and her sister had made a couple of videos just joking about some of the struggles or the obstacles she encounters being a plus size woman and someone who also likes to travel, someone who takes airplanes, who stays in hotels, who enjoys going to resorts. She has a really hard time maneuvering around the things that traditionally sized people don't have a problem with. In her video that went viral on TikTok, she showed herself in a bikini looking cute, and the hotel towel, the one that they put in the room, it didn't fit around her waist.
Drying off in a lovely day in the sun. It closes, kind of. So there she is in all her glory.
And she and her sister were laughing about it. They really weren't trying to go viral. They were just making a joke like, look, like it's not a one size fits all world, especially when it comes to travelers. She did another video where they went into the hotel bathroom, and the way that the sink and the counter was positioned right next to the toilet left very little room for her to use the bathroom. Sometimes these hotels don't take into consideration that, hey, you know, we might have people of all different shapes, sizes, abilities, and we might need to fashion and design the rooms and the amenities a little differently so that we can accommodate everyone. So when I spoke to Mary Fran, I realized that she is part of a community of people who are often maligned. They're not necessarily glorified. They're not necessarily considered. I remember one time I was traveling with my mother and little sister. We were coming back from Arizona. This is like thousands of years ago when dinosaurs roamed the earth and I was like 10 years old. There was a woman on the plane. She was maybe 2 or 3 rows in front of me. And she was a plus size woman. Something had happened and the stewardesses were trying to kind of accommodate her in a seat. It wasn't working out. I think the person next to her had an issue with her being overweight and maybe spilling a little bit into his personal space. But I do remember that woman's spirit. I remember her being so embarrassed and so crushed. They ended up moving her to the front of the plane. And you would think, well, at least she got to be in first class. But she was devastated. You could see it on her face. And as a 10-year-old, you know, I couldn't necessarily process all the emotions she was going through. I didn't know everything that had happened, but I knew that she was being treated differently because of the way she looked, because of her weight. That was before the time of social media where everyone can just complain on Twitter and things would be rectified in a moment. Nothing was recorded. No one was putting this on TikTok. This was her private but public shame. And so when I saw Mary Fran's video, it reminded me of what I saw when I was 10 years old on that plane with that woman, and how embarrassed she was and how hurt she was and the tears that were welling up in her eyes and how that person next to her made her feel. And I said, you know what? This has to stop. I'm not 10, I'm way beyond 10. And people are still being ridiculed and discriminated against, and it's not cool. So I wanted to make this story, put the story together, get Mary Fran's voice, Nadia's voice, a young man named Jeffrey's voice, and really allow this community to speak out against the injustices they've, you know, had to deal with.